The following story is also available as a read-only version. Check the link in the description if you're interested.
The Ministry of Mars was a vast bunker complex buried deep within Olympus Mons. Even though it was the seat of the planetary government, it had been constructed without much pomp, rust red and dark turquoise playing the role that platinum and gold would have taken in other places around the solar system. The ceilings were high and rounded, the walls braced with visible struts. Plates of red marble were padded liberally with rubber to improve soundproofing. The light emulated the same spectrum as the sunlight on the Martian surface at all hours of the day. Council Minister Caliban Gotar, the most powerful man on the planet, was about to enter a conference room where his 46 heads of state were waiting for him to answer some serious questions. He ran his fingers through his golden hair and adjusted the jacket that was already perfectly tailored to suit his slim frame. "Oh, don't pretend like you're a boy who doesn't know what he's doing," a harsh voice said behind him. Atilia Gorski, his chief of staff, was leaning on her cane. "You have leverage on all of these clowns, and even if the military is not backing you right now, they are still taking your orders." "Not if they remove me from office. Then they'd appoint someone who will go to war," Caliban responded. "A war that Mars would win with two hands tied behind her back." Gorski limped over, not a hint of worry on her ancient face. "I go in there as the council minister. There is a serious chance I will walk out just a citizen." "Think of it as a promotion." Gorski tapped her cane. "You'll land on your feet," Caliban noted. "The key to being the chief of staff of 5 administrations is that the position is unelected. You should have made do without the approval of everyone liking you more than the other guy." Gorski grinned. "Now go in there and turn that room around like you always do. I'll make sure Mars doesn't collapse in the meantime." Caliban nodded, put on his most winning smile, and walked into the council chamber. "This emergency session of the Council of Presidents of the Federation of Martian Republics is hereby convened," the commissioner said. It was like sitting in front of a 46-head tribunal. Everyone except Caliban sat in one half of the round room. "The purpose of this session is so the presidents can confer with the council minister with regard to his decision to allow a battle fleet of the Ordem Solaris to be parked in Mars's lower orbit. Council Minister Gotha has the floor." "My presidents, welcome to Olympus Complex. It is, as always, an honor and a pleasure to be able to host all of you in the seat of the federal government," Caliban began. "As you all know, my administration has continued the long-standing policy of having Mars take the role of a stabilizing force in the solar system. For the past 30 years, Martian battleships have managed to acquire the status of a previously unthinkable paradox. In the heart of war, they stand for peace. By keeping our orbit clear of armies that aren't our own," Lane Vok, president of Marineris, interjected. He had disliked Caliban from the very beginning, and judging by the polls, this coincided with the approval ratings he had with the people of the Mariner Valley. "That is not entirely true, Mr. President. Plenty of mercenary groups operate within Martian orbit and even our airspace," Caliban responded. "For logistics and private security contracts. All their military work is done outside of our sovereign space," said Bongani Marx, president of Samaria. That was ironic, coming from the man elected by a majority of caravan travelers. "The same is true for Ordem Solaris. Their fleet is parked here for repairs. All of their energy weapons are powered down and all projectile hatches are closed," Caliban pointed out. "They are subject to deep monitoring by all our systems." "Licking their wounds after a battle with Eurofleet 7, who, at least on paper, are our allies," Rana Wang, president of Noakis, complained. It was surprising that she'd side with her own people's historical enemy. "The Gabriel is up there right now. They released a bunker buster against the civilian population on Charon not 2 years ago. The captain of the Uriel is wanted for war crimes by a dozen different state actors in the system. Meanwhile, the Raphael is out in the Jupiter system right now, wreaking havoc with a fleet of its own," Roger Allen Chase, president of Arabia, added. It was the usual posturing of a retired admiral. I do agree that it is very important for us to make the distinction between private military forces and state actors, Caliban said. Ordem Solaris is very much not a state actor. This isn't some gang of tribal activists. This is the main battle fleet of an organization comprised of religious extremist terrorists. Iqbal Aritza, president of Ecus Lunae, was anti-theistic as ever. Not that he was wrong. "Spare me your moralizing, heathen," Dorothy Schroeder, president of Lucas, retorted. Caliban had counted on her support in this, but had hoped she wouldn't be quite so open about her reasons. "Ordem Solaris is fighting a holy crusade, and if the council minister has finally found God, then Lucas supports him unconditionally. I would like to make clear that the council minister enjoys the full trust and support of my government also, albeit for different reasons than Lucas. Nosanoa Abyssin was president of Bosporos, Caliban's home. Of course she would support him. I am much more concerned with the hold you have placed on business with the Ordem Solaris fleet, Lupus Pradi, president of Samara, noted. There is a humanitarian crisis out there, and many Martian contractors are unable to assist them with repairs and supplies. Of course he'd only be concerned with profiting off the situation. Does that not demonstrate that the council minister is being prudent in his judgment? He is preserving the diplomatic spirit of Mars, while not aiding Ordem Solaris in its genocidal tendencies. Louis Conti, president of Argentea, had always been a staunch supporter of Caliban's. He wasn't quite sure why. It's the kind of compromise no one is happy with. The Republic of Nakton has officially lost faith in this administration. Euclid Bonfortune had been gunning for Caliban's seat for years, and with an election coming back up in Nakton, he might well be able to run for council minister if he kicked Caliban out. Are you asking for a vote of no confidence, President Bonfortune? The commissioner asked, drowning out several other presidents who wanted to speak. He always had the highest speaking priority. Not at this time, but I may officially call for one later, the president of Nakton clarified. He wanted to, but doing so without knowing that he had the support of at least a dozen other presidents would make him look bad if he lost. Even if I may disagree with the council minister's actions in this regard, a change in leadership right now is a dangerous idea. Tresia Borisova Gukas, president of Nergal, decided. I will, however, inform the council minister that his actions in the coming days will decide the future of his career.
Could we stop with the political posturing and get on with the situation at hand?
When Gennady Adair, president of Nihilus, spoke, the voice Caliban heard was Atelia Gorsky's. How she had time to be his chief of staff and still fully control the politics of her homeland eluded him. It is the estimation of the ministry's joint experts that the Ordem Solaris fleet will wait for a favorable transit to Venus that will not lead through Earth-controlled space, Caliban said. This window will open in 2 Gregorian months. Standing policy until that point shall be that they can remain parked with their weapons down, but no aid services will be rendered to them outside of life-threatening situations. You would give them our sovereign space but not allow Martian businesses to take their money? Fabienne Zaraya Fung, president of Parva, was another one of the profiteers. She had personal stakes in several orbital shipyard operations, which did not bother her constituents much. I am much more concerned with the security risk. These religious fanatics may try to launch an ill-fated invasion of our more sparsely populated areas. They would certainly fail, but there would be Martian casualties. Ada Ellen Jade was not the exemplar of strength and bravery that the people of Eridania were stereotyped to be. Her cautiousness did not play well for her in the polls. My administration will not interfere with factional wars beyond sticking to Martian principles, and the experts consider the risk of such a desperate act negligible. If our intelligence services find reason to believe otherwise, intervention will come in the form of warnings and eventually military action, Caliban assuaged. So you are willing to take preventive military action against the Ordem Solaris, thereby involving Mars in their conflict? Egidio Christensen, president of Australis, was a master at twisting words. Only if the sovereignty of Mars is threatened, Caliban clarified. He could see that every single one of his presidents wanted to say something, but none of them had questions anymore. All they wanted to do now was exert power, let their voters and sponsors know just how much in charge they were. He had better things to do. Mr. Commissioner, I would ask you to adjourn this session for now so that I may get back to executive business. The Commissioner nodded. Are the presidents in favor of this adjournment? Murmuring turned into talking, and talking turned into shouting. Caliban let it wash over him. The only thing that mattered were the votes. 1 minute for the numbers to be rolling in. Adjourning was easy. Only a third of the presidents needed to vote in favor, and could only be blocked if half voted against. That was the beauty of emergency sessions. They could be skipped by simply making a few people happy. See, that wasn't so hard. Attilia Gorski was waiting for him when he left the council chamber. It could have easily gone the other way, Caliban decided. You worry about your career too much. Gorski tapped on the ground with her cane. Any new orders? Have the Joint Chiefs run a secret committee. I want to know if we can board those ships for inspection, so I want to know if we can board them for takeover. You want to get involved now? Gorski sounded skeptical. No, I just want to know if we can do it.
If you liked this story and would like to hear more, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. A new short story is uploaded every Wednesday, and there will occasionally be another one in between if I find the time. Thank you very much for listening and have a great day.